content. You want to do stuff for content. And good evening, everyone. Thank you so much again for joining in with us. I am Ashley D, joined by my beautiful co-host, Dr. Storm McCullough.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
We had to switch it up for y'all tonight. Thank you so much for joining, guys. We are so excited. Oh my gosh. Today is Tuesday, one of our favorite days of the week.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I was sitting at work today and I was like, ooh, it's gonna be good.
Ooh.
Y'all better get ready. Grab your popcorn. Before we get started tonight, guys, we want to give a full disclosure right now. So for this episode, we are not representing any police, municipalities, any clerk of courts, law firms, etc. This is no form of bashing platform at all whatsoever for men, women. We are just simply giving our own personal life experiences for this episode and episodes going forward. So we want to be sure that we are putting this disclosure out to everyone that is tuned in with us tonight. I think tonight is one of those nights where I'm just like, I'm excited. I'm able to breathe. Every episode, we're just like, Dr. Storm and I is just like, all right, we can breathe. Like, I can't believe we made it to episode 5, y'all. Like, this is season 1, episode 5.
Yeah.
This is so amazing. Like, I'm like truly enjoying the moments that we've been doing this podcast. We just get time together. Like, we've both been busy. We've been so busy, and it's just one of those things that I'm just like, OMG, like I get to hang out with Dr. Storm tonight, talk to one of our good girlfriends, and just have some girl chatter. Like, how you feeling, Dr. Storm? I'm talking.
I am good.
How was your day thus far? Because we ain't done yet.
Listen, today was day.
Right.
Every time we get on the podcast,
it was Tuesday and the day for us.
It's just one of those things, you know, but I'm super excited for the guests that we have.
Me too.
I'm excited about the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just excited. My cheekbones look all hot and
You
everything.
look good, friend. You look real good. You listen.
Little money
Let me
green.
get that up at you, girl. You look good. We look good, y'all. So I know we usually typically do on each podcast, we kind of discuss towards the end, but we want to touch bases with this in the very beginning.
Yeah.
We want to first off thank our sponsors for always being so generous in donating to us for our podcast, as well as a grand announcement that we always want to discuss with you guys. We have the Red Learning Academy Gala coming out. It's the 2nd annual, right?
2nd annual.
Oh my gosh.
2nd annual.
We got that coming up May 11th.
And it starts at 6 o'clock. If you have not purchased your ticket as of yet, tickets are on sale for $65 per person. And our keynote speaker is the most famous Ashley D.
I'm so excited, man.
I'm just excited to see the word that you're going to bring to the people. You know, I always do these galas in the fun of course, raising funds for the school.
Yes.
But I was raised to always sit at the table and just eat the fruit of any lesson that's going to be beneficial. And I know you go tear the house down.
I'm so ready.
We go party. We have a lot of big.
We're going to have a good time, y'all. I promise. I want anybody that's a friend, an associate, a cousin, an auntie, uncle, godmama. Like, I don't care how you see yourself related to me. I want you in the building because I need you guys there to support me. I love when I do things and I see people in the room and I know you. You just make me feel so comfortable and just in my element, and it just helps me to relax and stay calm. So I want y'all there.
So good.
It's gonna be good.
The first one's good. The second one's gonna be even better.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited. I can't wait. So guys, make sure you please purchase your tickets. They're $65. We will share the actual post again. We'll do it tonight as soon as we finish with the podcast. We kind of touched on everything that we wanted to cover in the beginning.
I'm ready, listen. I got cards today, y'all.
Listen, I want to make sure she do got her cards, y'all. She got questions for us. I want to make sure that you guys are relaxed at your home right now. I want to make sure that you're cooking dinner. I want you to just have a laptop right there and the iPad right there, just sitting, watching us talk about our life experiences, because this is one that you don't want to miss. I think it will help answer so many questions. I think a lot of people feel like they know me, but when they learn about this episode, they're like, ooh, she dropping gems, she dropping jewels, she telling all the tea.
What you say? You think you know me,
but you have no
but
idea.
You have no idea.
So I want to, no, you're going to do this one because this is someone near and dear. Like,
I don't even need an introduction for this one. You know, Leila Brown is one of those things where she calls herself Leila Gold.
Yes.
And she is such a powerful woman.
Yes.
I have known Leila for years.
Mm-hmm.
And Leila's daughter is the reason why I want a daughter. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. How good of just a parent she is.
Yes.
London is one of those babies that when I tell you nobody's perfect, but I would love for that to be my god baby, mama, and she's a little baby.
Yeah.
I babysit London for one day.
Right.
I was a parent for one day.
What?
And I told London, London, you can stay up, watch TV. You done did our homework. London went to bed at 8 o'clock, her regular time.
What?
Respectful.
Talking about
a young lady that is excelling. So Leila, I'm gonna allow her to, introduce herself a little bit more. But listen, guys, I'm excited. I love these two ladies. Like a fat girl love cake, chocolate cake at that.
I love it. Let me tell y'all, this is one of my. We got sorority sisters, but this is actually my sister in blue, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But without any further ado, you guys, welcome to the platform, Miss Leila Brown. Hi, Leila.
Hello. Oh my gosh, my heart is just so warm with the warm acceptance. Y'all gonna make me cry already. I haven't even.
No.
Listen, Leila, I was trying to hold back.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys just for your platform and what you do.
Yes.
Outside of the platform, it's just been in the community, always giving back. And I tell people all the time, one of the secrets to success, at least in my success too, and I know you guys can attest, is stewardship.
Yes.
Stewardship. And I'm just happy to be in good connection and good company.
Always.
Swear knows that she's my Oprah. So I'm just happy to be here. And Ashley, me and you click.
As soon as I talk to you, I'm like,
hey,
let me tell you something.
Hey, I got you on the phone. I'm running traffic.
Yes, you do.
Listen, y'all, let me tell you something about these two. So when I introduced them to each other, and they was, we always do our interviews ahead of time, and they was talking and connecting, and I'm like, all right, I gotta go back first. They like, well, connect us together with phone numbers. I totally forgot. 30 minutes later, I'm like, oh God, let me send the numbers. They already on the phone talking.
Chit-chatting.
But I love it. I love it and I love it.
Yes. Like, I felt like the moment I talked to her, I was like, oh my God, I am she and she is me. Like, what in the world?
I know. And I'm actually a twin. And my conversation with you, Ashley, so twins run in my family. On my other side of the family. I think there was like 4 sets. So I'm actually a fraternal twin. My sister was always taller and light skinned, ironically, right?
That's crazy. And you
but in my conversation with you, Ashley, there was so much, I got emotional then because I have never met someone with an identical path and journey to mine that it was scary. It was scary.
Yes.
And it was so interesting because when you're a public servant and you're out in the community, we all know about images, even though we're human. I was talking to Storm before you and I had a chance to connect. I say, Storm, please tell her what she see. That's not who I am.
Yes.
What I put on Facebook because, I think we've all been guilty of honoring behaviors that are not our best selves.
Yes.
But those who know me privately and know me personally knows that I don't engage in behavior like that, but I'm human. Right.
Yeah.
And I've been dealing with something very real for almost 17 years quietly. Yes. And you get to a place. Yeah. So I felt bad when she's like, I'm going to reach out to my girlfriend. I'm like, she going to think I'm a heathen. This woman going to think I'm a heathen.
Not at all. Not at all.
But, you know, no. I thank God for those that know me and they know better. And they're like, hey.
Yeah.
You know, so I appreciate that. I thank you for being receptive. And I thank you for not getting a different perception of who you may have thought I was. So.
Yes. No, not at all. And to be honest, I literally didn't read it till today. I'll be honest with you. Like I was just, okay. So like I told you in the beginning, I was like, Leila, I've been going through a child custody battle for the past 16 years, 16 long years. And I've never, a lot of my friends have no clue. Those that I really try not to talk about it, but I really got to a point where I feel like we're at the finish line. And I'm just like, God, why is the finish line so far? It's like that last 100 meters. And you're just like, God, let me just get my arms straight and head up and chest up and just go, right? Yes. And so when I finally got a chance to read it, I was just like, oh my God. Like I knew that from the moment I had that conversation with you that I was just like, oh my God. I was in tears. I was really in my office. I had to close the door and like literally cry out. Wow. I don't know if you heard me, but I was like literally crying. I was just like, because when you go through a custody battle for so long, your family will get tired of hearing this stuff. Yes. You don't want to overwhelm your friends with what you're dealing with. So you kind of hold it all together and you literally just go to God in prayer about it. Like, God, give me the strength to get through. And then you'll go before a court and then the narcissistic person will just sit up there and try to create this picture about you. And you're like, I just want to be a public servant and do my job of what God put me on this earth for and literally get my check and vacation and travel and raise my child to the best of my ability. I don't want to fight with you. Right. I want to literally just enjoy life. And when we co-parent as best as we can, we're going to do just that. But when you have a parent who doesn't want to co-parent and they want to fight you for blood, it's like, here we go again. Another court notice. Another notice being sent to your home, and you're just like, why?
Wow.
It's tough.
You know what? It takes a village.
It does.
It takes a village, and Leila, I can say that you do have a lot in common with Ashley D.
Oh my God.
And before we get started, who is Leila? Who is Leila?
We gotta get that.
Because I love her. From the bottom of my soul, I love this girl.
I want to know what
Leila from. It's mutual. Fort Lauderdale, raised in Sunland, city girl. You know,
all day.
Yep. Deerfield Beach. You know, I'm the youngest of 7 girls. I'm a fraternal twin.
Okay.
You know, my mother died at the age of 25, HIV positive. You know, my biological spent majority of my life, you know, in prison. And my siblings and I were actually legally adopted by my mother's sister and her husband. And yeah, so my aunt was the mother that I knew, called her mom. And my mom died when I was 1, and my aunt died when I was 10.
Yeah.
Of breast cancer, right? 1998 Christmas Day. So that was tough, you know, especially having a lot of loss like early on and really not understanding the magnitude of death, right?
Yeah.
You know, you lose your mom at this age, and then you lose your second mom at this age, right? And then you're, you know, bounced from home to home. We were not the best kids, let me say that, but we were kids, right?
Okay.
So it was tough. It was tough. I was very grateful over the years for a village and my grandparents, my uncles, who you know, who stood in the gaps for me, as father figures who never judged, who just loved me and uplifted me.
Yes.
And gave me a pat on the ass when I needed it, you know.
We all need it.
You know, and it's funny because I remember as a kid, my mom, she would walk around the house and she would video record. You know, we had a nice home, and I was the youngest, so I used to always want to steal the show. My name is Leila Brown. I'm born September 6th. Always had the personality, and I think it comes from being the baby and having to fight for room, fight for space, fight for, hey, I'm over here. Don't leave me, don't leave me out. And I think a lot of my mother, I believe the good things about me are truly attributes of my mother.
That's good.
A lot of my upbringing, I think, has like collectively made me who I am, and so have my experiences, even the things that are not so glorious about myself. But I would say that Lee is a hard worker. My daughter said that I'm a badass mom, so I wear that title any day of the week.
It is.
I'm solid. I'm solid when it comes to being a friend, a sister, a confidant, and I'm not a bad partner either. I'd marry me. I'd date me.
Let me tell you something, baby. Because listen, I'm gonna get an insert.
What you got?
You guys only see this part of us. But baby, let me tell you something about a body.
The body in y'all.
And it's a natural body. This is the thing. So when y'all get some time, go look at it, and then when you come back on the comment, it just double tap.
Let's check her page out, y'all. Go check her page out. I promise you.
Oh God.
Oh
Listen,
my God.
You're not eligible. You don't have a relationship with Christ. You're scared of commitment, monogamy. I am not the woman for you.
That part.
I am not. Don't even waste your time. Do not waste your time. You got mommy issues. Stay the hell away from me. Please.
Put the full disclosure out.
I told Storm one day, we were talking a while back, and I said, I'm bumping into this guy, and he was like, can I get to know you? I was like, do you know yourself? Do you know yourself?
Do you know Jesus?
Because I want you guys to stop disrupting us whole women over here.
Interrupting our peace.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting? All of us have something in common.
What's that?
We, as strong, I can say independent. Strong, independent alpha women. I'm gonna say alpha.
Yeah.
I always hear women talk about a soft era and a soft season.
Child.
And all of us are educated Black women that has overcome so many doggone challenges in life.
Still try to love.
That we don't look like what we've been through. And one of the things that I know is just very powerful, Leila, especially about you both, is when it comes to your spiritual walk, listen, I always say this girl will quote a scripture like it's no other. I can tell you've been raised in a Christian home.
Come on now.
But I want to know, Leila, if you can go back a couple of years from now and talk to Leila Brown in her 20s, because I know. And I was right there with you. And the one thing that I can say is that I admire you for your tenacity. I admire you for just moving forward. Anybody that knows me knows I don't have just anybody around me. For you to be in my cabinet, you have to be something that is extremely special to me. And I admire you for your strength. I admire you for your tenacity. I don't see certain parts of you that I'm like, Leila, how do you do it? So if you can go back in your 20s, Leila, what would you tell Leila that was been through this, single parent, raising a daughter, and just trying to have a career?
Yes.
What would you tell Leila in her 20s?
Oh, man. You're going to make me cry.
Don't.
I would tell myself in my 20s that I'm enough.
Yes.
That I'm enough. That you are more than your environment or circumstances. You are more than your story, because we all have it.
Yeah.
You're more than your journey. You're more than your current circumstances.
Absolutely.
And that your mother didn't leave you. She passed away.
Right. That's so powerful. That is so powerful, Leila. I remember we were talking, and I was sharing with you about my mom passing as well.
Yeah, about to make me cry.
Leila was like, my mom's buried over off 19. I said, my mom's there too. And I was like, Leila, I lost my grandmother too, like the woman that raised you. And I was just like, I never thought that there was someone else in the world that could truly relate in every aspect, from you just feeling like you're a victim of your success. Wow. You being in the position that you are, you pushed yourself to higher standards, like you wanted more for yourself. Right. And to see like, why are you coming for me with my job? Like, this is my livelihood. Wow. You know,
yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Like even with my mom, you know, when you have siblings, even you're raising children, each child has different personalities. They have different needs. Not to take anything away from my biological, but I needed my mother. That's something that has a void that has never been filled for me. And ironically, I'm a spitting image of her. I went to her grave, her grave site one time when I was 10. And I remember my sister saying, "You're not going to talk to mama? Say something, say something." And so I'm over there. I'm tiptoeing like, I'm sorry. Like I felt like I was walking over the dead. And I was like, how can I say something to mom? I can't miss what I never had. Right. That was 10. Okay. Now you're talking about over 25 years later. And I had always said, whenever I go back to the cemetery, I was going to have her a headstone. So I was actually in the process of paying for her headstone, probably over the last 5 or 6 years. You know, I was paying for the layaway, life happens, priorities, you know, and I just let it, you know, I just didn't think much of it. But the more I passed 19th, because I was going to Mount Bethel with Bishop Glover, I would get nauseous. And as I started, life starts to life, I felt like my mama had been waiting on me. So I went and got the headstone. I drove all the way to Hialeah, which I had no idea the emotional piece of it. I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to come in here and write this cool check. Bam! This is what I want. This is how I want it. Man, I walked into the place and I collapsed. I collapsed because it was so... I think they really thought I was high on something. They had to, okay? So I get it ordered, you know, cemeteries, weeks go by. I'm getting calls. So I go out there, they call me and they were like, well, hey, you need a death certificate. Bam, here's a death certificate. It was like, okay, well, the plot owner, which is my aunt who adopted us, she's out there already, right? I said, well, she's deceased. She lays in the same cemetery. Well, the plot owner has to give us permission to install the headstone, things that I don't know, right? I said, well, she's deceased. Okay, well, let me go pull her placard. The lady goes to pull the placard, and she was like, okay, where is Ebony Walters? I buried my sister 2 years ago, Ebony. Yeah. And I'm in her seat. She's dead. She is dead. I went blind in there, y'all. Y'all have no idea. I couldn't drive. I couldn't even believe, like, that was so emotional and traumatic for me because I really didn't know the layers, and I had no idea that I would feel those waves of emotion. That grief is something else. So I finally get it installed. They call me out there, and man, I felt like I had steel toe boots on, and my mama was waiting on me. And when I had a chance to go out there and lay my burdens down, it took a lot. It was a lot for me because it came to me at that very moment that I had held resentment to my mother for getting HIV. Wow. Now, somebody else will think that's crazy. Now, mind you, I never thought that about my mother over the years, okay? That never crossed my mind because the bottom line is that we've all went out there and had unprotected sex, and it takes one time. It takes one time to come up with an STD or to come up with something you can't get rid of, right? And I felt like over the years, my siblings and I were casualties of war because of what she died from. So you have mean people who would throw that in our faces over there. So your mama this or your mama that. That's what people do, right? Yeah. So I had to forgive her at the cemetery on my knees. I'm literally begging for forgiveness because I'm like, Mama, I am so sorry. You were 25. I am so... Because when you look at our story, my grandmother, Leila May, her mother had schizophrenia. She had bipolar and schizophrenia. She married a married man. This guy leaves her. So she started riding the Broward County bus for days at a time until she made herself sick and had to be put on psychotropic medication, which left my mother, her sister, and her brother to fend for themselves and to raise themselves. And they've made some decisions that they ultimately, cost them their life. So when you think about that, and you think about the generational curses, even with men, you know, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It hit me like a ton of bricks in that moment, because that is something I really, really struggled with. And when I tell you I'm a spin image of my mama, personality, my walk, my attitude, you name it.
Everything.
So I've learned through my sister and through my mother that grief is just love with no place to go.
Wow, that's good, Leila.
You know, it's one of those things that just hits you. We didn't expect my sister to die. And then I think what added insult to injury was, you know, my sister had stage 4 colon cancer. She was very stubborn, but if she loved you, it was nothing she wouldn't do for you. The circumstances surrounding her death. And I've never lost a sibling. And then when those relationships are not what they should be, it burns a little worse. You understand? And then you have those that say, well, Lee, I lost my sister, or I lost my brother. I know how you feel. No, you don't. No, you don't. My sister was a second mother to us. In spite of the dysfunction and the toxicity.
Right.
You know, that was my sister. So that was very tough. That was tough. Going through that and not really being prepared for that. And then, you know, I got married. So now I'm trying to, you know, figure out how to be a wife and blended family, compounded with grief and co-parenting, right? Or lack thereof, shall I say. That's a lot. And then I'm filing for divorce. Like, it was like a freight train. I kid you not. It was literally like a head-on collision. And that's enough storm. That's enough pressure to really, really send somebody not just on the deep end, but to almost have you unrecognizable, even from the people you love. And that's right. The older you get and you have those experiences, you know, unfortunately, family isn't what it used to be. You know, and I'm speaking from my experience. Let me just say that. Mm-hmm. And I've been very blessed and fortunate to have a village and to have, I tell people, oh, blood is thicker than water. That's BS. No, family is what family does. Okay? Right. Family is what family does, and everyone isn't privy to the intimate details of your story. You know what I mean? Right. You almost have to be careful what you share. You know what I mean? Or careful if someone don't have your best interest at heart, so they want to bring it to social media and anybody who's willing to listen about your dirty laundry, or you know what I mean, to wash your face with it. So it's tough. It's tough life, you know what I mean? It's very tough. When you're dealing with grief of that magnitude, a failed marriage, at least I thought I failed, right? Not knowing that the day I filed, I won already. Hallelujah. But that's a lot. You know, that's a lot for anyone to second guess their purpose, second guess their value, because yes, I was the chick that was like, is it me? Is it me? Am I not good enough? Am I in any woman that has been in a relationship or marriage, you know, that thing to start playing on your self-esteem in the worst way. And it'll almost trick you into believing, wait a minute, is it me? Right? But no, man, you know, I thank God for grace. I thank God for what didn't work out for me. You know, I thank God for that. You know, I thank him for revealing too, because accountability with some folks is a mother. You know what I mean? Right. And exposure. Once they're exposed or got to sit on that accountability seat, it's rough.
Yes, you know? It is extremely rough.
Yeah, but that's
Leila, do you like? There's times like I feel like being that you have to juggle so many hats, and on top of that, within our career, we're like the fixers of everybody's problems. We weigh the weight of the world on our shoulders, and people don't realize that we're human too, and we're trying to navigate through our own problems. Like I've seen that daily.
Yes. I think let me tell you something. When I hear both of your stories, it touches my heart because, for one, you all know how I am about my mama. And to know that it's one thing if your parent was a deadbeat, but both of your parents, the transition in a way to where you had no choice.
None.
Yeah. And Leila, I just thank you for sharing all of that. Because it's not easy. Because the one thing that people do unapologetically, they criticize and judge every little thing. And outside of dealing with the day-to-days, you have to deal with whether or not the people that you think that loves you truly love you. Yeah. Or the people that you call your friends is really your friend. And that's why I always say love is an action word.
It is.
It's not too much of an action word. And
love me like a verb. I said it all the time. Listen, love me like a verb. Love is what it does, not what it says.
That's right, Leila. And you said something that was so powerful. When you got to the point that you had to recognize just for self that you was holding on to so much, what did that transition look like when you wanted to almost give up, but you kept going? And I know that London played a part in that, but outside of that, what kept you going?
I think what kept me was my faith. You know, I come from a praying grandmother, you know, with an agricultural background, domestic help. So they didn't have much, but they were able to make plenty out of little. And I think during that space, I'm not going to sit here and say I was always relying on my faith, because I was listening to Trick Daddy and JT Money many days and thinking how I was going to set it off.
Hold on, Leila. I'm going to give you the floor, but keep talking, babe. You're doing real good.
So it was my faith. You know, you don't work that hard and go through those kind of things to throw in the towel or to raise the white flag. I just refused to fold, you know, and I think that was I'm a former athlete. That's a competitor in me. You know, I'm going to hold my head up. I'm going to stick my chest out, and I'm going to, against all odds, back against the wall, figure it out. And it was scary. It was very, very scary, because I sacrificed a lot. I relocated, and, you know, which I have no regrets, because I did it for the right reasons. But it was scary. I really didn't know what it was going to look like at first, because everything was kind of like a blur, right? But then I have this bright-eyed Hazel Hillary Banks child of mine who looks at me like her superhero, her superwoman. And I had to make sure that, good, bad, or indifferent, man, she saw me rise. She didn't watch me become bitter, vindictive, nasty, try to cost other people their livelihoods or freedoms. She watched me rise above it and boss up. And it took a lot of grit. It took tenacity. And I think I credit my faith, but I also credit, man, my friends, my mentors, my former professors that was praying with me in the morning, you know, because I'm like, hey, I ain't no killer, but no push me, you know. It was really, really, really tough. But, you know, now that I'm on the other side of it, man, let me tell you how funny grief is, right? Grief is not just about when somebody dies, you know. Grief is also not just about death or loss, but you can grieve what never was. And I think what never was, what could have been, what should have been. So that was another thing I learned in trying to get myself together and get my head on a swivel to get my head back in the game, you know. Hey, get back in the game, you know. So I think that was one thing that kept me going. But grief is something else, because it is not about people just passing away. You can grieve what never was. You can grieve with relationships with your father, your mother, what could have been, what should have been, you know. But I think my faith in my daughter was one of the driving forces for me, because I couldn't fold.
Right.
I just couldn't. And I want, like, when I leave here, I die tomorrow, I want people to know that, hey, she never laid down. She always figured it out. You know, I've lost some, I've won some, but, you know, I kept going. And that's something that I want to always teach my daughter, and also teach her to sit with it too. Because you talk about years of therapy. You know, it took my therapist to tell me, hey, you know, you can't heal in an environment that made you sick, because I had that feeling too, and it was stress. You know, it was stress induced. And listen, I just like my grandmother told me, Her children was not gonna kill her. Her grandchildren and her great grand and my great grand are not gonna. Nobody. I'm not gonna let anybody put me in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Not even my daughter. And I'll lay down my life for her. I'm willing to do life for her. But it definitely my daughter, and a strong support system. And I have the kind of support system like Storm. They let me cry. Hey, I had 48 hours to figure it out. And
Yeah.
my uncle was like, "Hey, Lee, we want a solution." They let me cry. They let me get it all out and vent, and MF for this and that, MF for that. And when I see that MF, I'm a MF and this. That was the kind of time I was on because I was so that feeling of betrayal, embarrassment,
Yes, yes. The feeling of
trust.
betrayal.
You know what I mean? No integrity. And my uncle was like, "Hey, hey, 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 you gotta come up with a solution. You can cry, but hey, you're not gonna cry no lifetime. But we're gonna figure this thing out." So I'm grateful to have those kind of people around me. And then it was hard too because I had to sit in that seat of the role I played in my own hurt. Whew. Yeah. So it was tough. Tough.
But you know something, Lee? Listen, you said something that was so powerful. You said the role that you played in your own hurt. And I think as individuals, we do not take accountability for that. And when it comes to the accountability portion, it's almost like it's really easy to blame the other person
Yeah.
or what is
Yeah.
taking place in your life versus saying, you know what, let me check self and see what self had to do with this. And that's huge. I heard someone always say sometimes you just gotta put on your big girl panties.
Listen, yeah, it's one of those things where I'd be lying if I said that. At the end of the day, just what I told you guys about. I wanted to do this, do that, MF, blah 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 blah. What you learn too is I would have been justified, but it would have made it right.
Right.
So that was one of the biggest pieces. You're learning as you're approaching 40. Like, so you have to be
Hmm.
and some of the things you ignore, the red flags, the behavior, right? I think in my situation with some things, I didn't know the depth of. I didn't know the depth of it.
Right.
You think that a woman like myself and many other women who may have daddy issues or mommy issues, man, a male with mother issues take the cake, and
He's
that's a conversation. I'm not saying it to be mean spirited at all, but what I'm saying is that there is not enough conversations like this. We're not
Right.
having. It's always the narrative of the bitter baby mama, the angry black woman, the woman that has daddy issues. Um, but we don't have enough conversations about how we can bring our both parties bring their own individual traumas in, right?
Yeah.
And we have to
Right.
give grace and space to unpack that stuff too. So it was tough, man. But I have no regrets.
Yeah. I think about when we first started talking, I was like, man, this is why I created the encouraging woman, because I have been dealing with so much, just like I said, when it came to like the child custody battles, just petty different things. And I was just like, I know there has to be other women out there that are battling this and going through this and just like, okay, I need an outlet. I need either some type of counseling or I need a
Yeah.
paralegal that I can afford to help me to prepare these court documents. I literally had become my own representative and I have been for
Yeah.
so many years.
Yeah.
And so I just think about the fact that the encouraging woman, that was truly the purpose of why I created it, not just about, dealing with a breakup and trying to find some type of encouragement for myself. That wasn't truly what it was about. It was truly just the aspect of I was getting tired and I was so tired of just, going on this journey. Like, and it's so amazing when we were talking and I was like, man, I love my village. I love my baby mamas. I love everything about them. They are like my backbone, and we are each other's backbone just in terms of just trying to get through. It's not about trying to come against the other person who we kind of can,
Right. Right.
if you want to call them the adversary, the enemy, whatever you want to try to call it. But at the end of the day, it was
All the
more
options.
so where we as women, we realized yeah, we got a same father in common. However, we don't have to beef with each other. We don't have to have conflict.
You know what?
So,
Actually, my daughter's brother, mother, Kia, we are really good friends. You know, we have the same child's father in common, but her and I are good friends, and it's actually built on a genuine love that I have for her,
literally,
have for each other. It has nothing to do with the other party and so on. But so, and I'm grateful for that. But you know, when you say that you've created that for that purpose, I think it's awesome. It's also heartbreaking. You know, just like what you said. You know, for years I couldn't really. It wasn't so much that I couldn't really afford legal counsel. I knew that it was a witch hunt, and I just refused to piss my money away with an attorney to have me in court until our child is 18. And here we are, she'll be 17 this year. But I had to lawyer up because of the recent things that I shared with you. But what was heartbreaking, I think what was tough about that was it's stressful, it's taxing. The kids suffer, right? Especially when I think that everybody should fight for their kids. Everybody, man and woman. But I think it's a fine line when your motive is just to hurt the other parent, mother or father. You just want to see them suffer, you know, or stress them out to no avail. And I think that's a hurtful part of it. But I think what really got me in my stomach had to be when I vented on Facebook a couple of weeks back. I had so many women in my inbox saying, "You said, Lee, what so many of us want to say, or you're so brave, you're so strong." Listen, I didn't think I was being brave and strong while I was going through it. You know, I just thought in myself when I got to a place to say, "Hey, enough is enough. I'm going to set the record straight."
Yes.
I was just tired, you know, not knowing what that would do for other women that was dealing with the same things. And it was just disheartening. I don't ever want to be the poster child of baby mama drama, baby daddy. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. That was one of the reasons why I haven't had any more children, because of what my experience was. That experience I had wasn't wasn't much encouraging, and it has impacted our daughter in ways beyond repair. Right. Correct. But it saddened me to know that this stuff is really, really going on. You got, you know, people are really being drugged in and out of court, and the priority and the interest is not the kid. And I think every court in America needs to start kiboshing that and putting some of them in contempt. Hey, you come in my courtroom again, this is where we're headed, because that's emotional, mental, and physical duress for you. Talk about it. For you and for the child. And what makes it worse is, you know, had I been probably, no disrespect, had I been unattractive, been, you know, let me just use Ciara for example. The R&B singer Ciara. Future acted a plum fool, right? Yeah. She got with Russell Westbrook. She's the only baby mother that he wanted to talk about publicly, on and on and on. And he has 6 or 7 other children. You know why? Because Ciara still got it going on. She's living her life. She's thriving. She found love again. Not only did she find love, but she found a love that's gonna love, that loves her son unconditionally. Correct. That's why it became an issue publicly. You know, you making rap songs, everything. Why you don't talk about the mother 6 baby mamas you got over there? Exactly. But it's something about success. It's something about cutting off access. It's something about, no, Negro, you can't come to my house. This is where I'm going to meet you at to do a public drop off. It's something about boundaries. It's something about stopping access. It's something about, no, you cannot call my phone. All of our communication will be via text or via email. It's crazy. And you have some people out here, when you have children with them, they think that they're always entitled to you, which is beyond me, you know? So it just sucks, but it teaches you. You know, I hate that you've had that experience, Ashley, for so long, because you know the feeling. But one thing I can tell you about how good God is, in spite of, it has taught me how to fight wounded. Like, this is not a story about, oh, woe me, my mom and dad, I was adopted. Whoopie. Right. No, this is a story of, I had no choice. This is a story of a baby of 7 kids that was forced to be a matriarch. Forced to be the matriarch. Yeah. I'm the sibling that think I'm better than everybody, right? Only because I went to school. But if I didn't go to school, that wouldn't be a conversation. That wouldn't even be an area of a reference, right? Yeah. I'll be down. I'll be real, right? And now I'm the one that everybody goes to. And I don't have it all together. I don't know at all.
Lee, do you feel like you've always had to be in what we call survival mode?
Hell
I
yeah. You
I
remember
feel
actually I went to
since
school. I went to school on a full ride to play basketball. I lost my scholarship because I got pregnant with London. So I
mm-hmm,
wasn't raised with my parents. I was bounced around until to the age of 16.
mm-hmm,
So I've had to kind of do a lot on my own and made a lot of mistakes and errors as a young adult. But yeah, I've always been in survival mode, and I'm not proud of that because that's also a trauma response. So
right.
when you get married, remember you have to unlearn some of those things to allow your partner to lead you. But see, it's trusting and honoring who you can trust to chart your collective course to lead you. All right?
Yes.
Because everybody can't. They say it, they talk a good game, wait till them bills start hitting, and you have to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have transparency and you have to have vulnerability. It's a totally different ball game. So
Correct.
that survival mode, I have literally been in survival mode my entire life. And when I hear people say this soft era, I just feel like people are crazy as hell because it's nothing trendy. We were supposed to be soft.
Right.
Always nurtured and cared and delicate and cared for, but unfortunately some of our experiences have had us as polar opposite: provider, protector, the
Yeah.
doctor, the Uber
Yeah.
driver, the nurse, the maid, the teacher, the tutor.
I
I got,
literally
I didn't have anybody to pass the baton to. I didn't want to be. Who wants to be strong? I can't wait to come home and say, "Oh,
listen.
listen,
I
listen.
can't wait.
I don't wear. Listen, I can't wait to come home. Listen, I need my next husband to be my hero. I don't like and no ego. You hear me? I just want to run up on and say, protect me.
My hero with no
I
ego.
just protect me. Like the damsel in distress.
I'm
But
trying to tell you, Leela.
but you I went into that and then boom, I was in survival mode in a marriage. You understand? So it's almost like, okay, I need to unlearn this, but to put me back in a place that I had to fight like hell from, right? So it has me, always has me in my mind to always have my shit together. I gotta always have my shit together just in case. You know what I mean? And that's tough. I'm scared to give you my heart just in case. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared to, because you just never know. It's all a risk. It's all a scary, funky risk. It really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want. Listen, I need saving.
Listen.
Boaz, do you hear me? Lord, the
Listen.
husband you got for me, do you hear me? I need saving, so I can just say, "Oh, honey."
It's like I'm always feeling like, oh my gosh, since my son was born, it's been
Yeah.
survival mode, even up until to now, present day. And I'm just like, God, please give me strength each
Do
day
you
because
still feel that way though? Like my question to you is: now that you are acclimated in your career, I know you wear many hats. Do you feel like you're in survival mode? Because your son is 16 too, right?
yes,
Do you still feel that way?
yes, I do. I feel like even so, it's so amazing. I was talking to my other mom the other day, and I was just like, I need some encouragement. The encouraging woman need encouragement. And she was just like, babe, I got you. Like you've been there from day one for us. So we're gonna be there for you. And I was just like, I just wanted to break it down and cry. And I was just like, this is just so tough because now my son's at a point where he just, he's feeling himself. He's 16, the little girls like him at our school. Just like, hey son, I'm still your mom. I'm still here. Like, I'm not asking you to be up under me, but I do want to spend some time with you. So it's just one of those things like now here we go yet again. I gotta prove and show what have I done? Nothing. Nothing
Yeah.
at all, but be mommy, be present, be firm with what I'm saying to him. Trying to drop jewels in his life, just letting him know who he is in Christ, like just giving him those small reminders. And I think like right now, I'm just like it's still survival mode to the finish line. Um, and I can't wait to the day when I could just feel like that I don't even know when it will happen. Where you just feel so relieved about the situation. Like I can't tell you, but I just know that, like I told him, I said, hey, you owe me that high school diploma, my boy. I was a teenage mom, you know what I mean? Having him at the age of 19 was just something that stuck with me for so long. You being me being that I was like you, Leela, where everybody knew who I was in school, straight A student, then you boom, you get pregnant. You go out to college your first year, and here you are having a child, and I'm just like, Oh, snap. So I felt like I've always had to prove myself, even present day.
Yeah.
However, I'm like, I know what I bring to the table. Like, I know what I do for my kids. Even so, I love children, like my kids at my school. Like, what we got, like 2,500, 28 kids, 2,800 kids who look at me. That's auntie. That's auntie
But you
off
know
the
what,
roof.
Ashley, you're doing it. You're doing it because the thing about being a mom, a
Yeah.
mother's job is never done. It's never done. And I think that when you've had to grow up with your children like we have, it gives us I feel like that's what makes you, and that's what gives you that tenacity and gives you another edge. But I tell anybody, the kids that we're raising today, these are not the same kids. I tell people that all the time, because one thing I've noticed from juvenile to county probation, pretrial release, corrections, police, is that the entitlement and life skills, right? These kids now, they be ready to commit suicide. My mama took my phone. So I tell people all the time, keep loving your kids, keep raising them, and give them grace. And most importantly, where they show out at, you show up at. Okay.
All right, Ashley.
So I want you to, when you know your role as a mother and what you've been to him, nothing nobody can say on the planet can ever penetrate that.
Yeah.
Because people, that's what they'll do, because they can't get their rise out of you. Oh, well, yeah, you ain't no mama, or they want to start jabbing at your mothering skills. Oh, all of a sudden you're not a good mother, or you're not mothering appropriately. But no, man, I just want you to know that God has already went before you, and he's already settled it. And I hope and pray, just as I finally came to that's all that becomes behind you and under your feet,
Absolutely.
Because he knows. If nobody else knows, even I tell my daughter all the time, I don't care what anybody else has to say about me. You know what I've been as a mother. You know what I've been to you. And I don't care what you hear or what you were told. You know what you've lived in real time. You know what you've experienced. Yes. And you know how I've showed up. So Ashley, just keep showing up. Keep showing up. Listen, I'll be so cool. Listen, I go to court, like, my attorney's still trying to figure out, girl, what are you doing to this man? I say, whatever it is, I want it to stop. You gotta never work with me doing that no more. Because I did not take that as a compliment.
Doing never mind our business.
Girl, she was like, well, Miss Brown, what are you doing? I say, if you find out, so God help me send it back to the pits of hell. I don't even want it. Okay. And this is the outcome of what I have to deal with and decipher through. So no, keep doing what you're doing as a mother. Like keep doing it. Like, don't allow somebody else actions because they want to be a freaking butthole and have you in and out of court. That's them. That's them. Like, whatever. That's not gonna change my duty as a parent.
Listen.
So keep doing what you're doing, man.
Oh, I appreciate you so much, Leila. I promise you. Listen, y'all have no idea the things we've been going through here. What do we've been going through things over here in this studio? Hey, let me tell y'all, I promise y'all, I love doing this. I love doing the lives, but baby, the thing about doing lives, it's kind of off topic, but we got, we're real transparent with our audience. Let me tell you something. We done went from using the iPad to the iPhone. So now we got the laptop. But
I love it though, because
that looks better, right?
Hey, by any means, listen.
By any means, listen,
but you know what though? I always say, as a woman, I had a post. And Sierra said it best. As women, we figure our stuff out.
Come on now.
We figure
Dr. Storm.
Yep. Guess what? We'll turn the house into a home. We'll turn groceries into dinner. You hear me? We gonna make it do what it do.
Y'all, this is so funny.
Let me say this, Leila. For one, thank you for sharing such a powerful story. And guys, if we look real bright, just listen.
Just listen to the message.
We'll tell y'all later, but just listen to the message. I want to ask you a question.
What you got for me, Dr. Storm?
Because I heard Leila interviewing you, so I'm right here. Because y'all sharing this platform, right?
Yes.
Let me get my cards that I wasn't able to get. Ashley D,
ma'am,
what would you tell your 20-something self? What's interesting is you always say that if people only knew.
Man, what would I tell my 20-year-old self if they only knew? Like, I mean, I will honestly say, like my 20s, I said, I've been in survival mode,
Right.
and my 20-year-old self would say, "Girl, keep going," because yes, it was a mistake that you made, but he's here, and you're going to continue to thrive. Like his nickname is Champ for a reason. I never really tell people the story, but back when I was in college and I was pregnant with him, I was really planning to go have an abortion, and on my way to come back home from Daytona. I got into a really bad car accident, and it was where my vehicle flipped like 2 times, y'all.
Wow.
And my vehicle landed upside down, wheels still spinning. And I never forget the young lady. It was an older lady who stopped, and she was like my angel. She stayed with me the whole entire time from the time the ambulance came for me to pull me out of the vehicle. And all I can remember was like, it's not my time.
Wow.
And it was like, God was like, why are you trying to take this life? I could have took both of your lives. Oof. You were not appreciating what I was giving you. You know, children are a blessing no matter what.
Yes.
And so from that point was how I came up with a nickname for him, Champ. And I always tell him that story. And he's like, Mom, like, I appreciate you, you know, and he's going to forever appreciate me no matter what the circumstances may be or what the narrative the other person tries to paint of my child or just of our relationship.
Right.
But 20-year-old self would legit just be still, keep going. It's okay. Because his life has purpose. Just like all of our lives have purposes. And every last one of our kids are a blessing. But that was really what I would tell my 20-year-old self. Just keep going.
You know, I sit on the side of both of you all, and I tell you, just thank you for allowing, me to just see the tangible parts that other people don't see, because I don't hold that same story. I don't hold the story of having any kids at the moment, and a lot of people tell me at my good 21 age that I am now, right? They 21? You get older, you get a little seasoned, you start lying about your age.
Talk about it.
But
so we know you was class of 92. It's okay.
Yes. A lot of people would say, well, you're at that age where you should have had a kid already, or you're waiting too late. I hear that a lot. I hear, you're waiting too late to have children. And I remember saying, but I think this is like the perfect age.
It is the perfect age.
In your 30s is like that good age of, I have literally enjoyed my 20s. And I got all of my careers, my degrees. I got the majority of that stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
But in my 20s, it could have been me. It could have been me that, was pregnant in my 20s. But I think the major difference for me was growing up in a single family home.
Yeah.
And seeing my mom struggle, seeing my mom just try to figure out how to make ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
And she always say, be better than me.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I told God when I remember one time I thought I had a scare, and I was like, oh Jesus, you know how we go to God and say we ain't gonna never do it again. We ain't gonna never do it again, God. But at that moment, and I'm being very transparent, in that moment, I literally saw my life flash before my eyes.
Yeah.
And it was a life that I did not want.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was a false hope, and I was like, you know what? I got to do things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And it's just certain things, as one of the things that you always tell me, and you tell me also, Leila, you guys go scripture with me. It's almost like you have those friends that don't want you to make the same mistake. And you're like, Dr. Storm, this is the way you have to do it.
Do what the Bible says.
Actually, you tell me all the time, listen, the Bible says the reason why you should be married before you have kids, because being a single parent is no joke.
Come on now.
And I applaud you, and I thank you for sharing that, because sometimes, when you're reaching a certain age period, society would tell you waiting too late. Like, no, you're waiting too late. You're going to have all these problems during childbirth. But then I had to take that thing back. I'm like, wait a minute, especially as women in our culture. Baby, we having babies in our 40s and close to 50. That ain't gonna be my story. But we're having babies in our later ages, and we're having healthy babies. And the one thing that I would say is that if you are in your 30s or close to your 40s and you still want to build children, the one thing that I do faithfully is that I go to the doctor.
Yes,
I go to my OBGYN. I get my test done to look at my ovaries, my fertility. I look at all of that. I get a full panel every year to make sure that I am A-okay.
Yes.
And I think that as women, we don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't go to the doctor. We don't go get those things checked. Leila, I feel like you're saying something real cool, but you're not. I can't hear you. No, I can't.
Oh, you pretty babe. Hold on, let's make sure. Oh, that's not us. We can hear. Here we go. There you go.
Storm, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think I had a delay over here, but what I was going to say to you is that you're right on time. I think that we, as of Black people, right, I'm speaking for the entire race, but from conversations I've had, is that we're the only ones that would tell our counterparts, you waited too late or you're too old. Storm, you're right on time. I don't know why people, I think it's people, we have to do better with fetishing that poverty and having to be strong and struggle and all those things. You're right where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Live your life. You've pursued your education. You're traveling. You're having your hot girls summer, winter, fall, spring. Whoop, whoop, hello. No, I'm just playing. You know, it's a time for everything. And I think that you're right where you need to be, because when you have kids, like it's like when you get pregnant, I feel like I'm gonna have to go get me a sperm donor or something, because I want our kids to grow up. Like my kid is to be 17, you know, but I had to grow up with her. I've been through those experiences and stuff. Yeah. So I feel like it puts you so far ahead, not just in life experience, but financially too, to plan accordingly. Yes, I didn't know the things that I know now that I should have been doing for my daughter when I was pregnant. I was even though I was 20, I was still trying to figure out life myself. And I wouldn't even want that for my daughter.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's one of those things, Leila, where honestly, it's like, you know, having a baby at this age, and remember, in your 20s or your early 20s, I don't bash nobody, because that's what I could have been you. I could have been easily you. But
you already know.
I was outside in my 20s, girl, still with a baby. Stop playing with me.
Listen. But you know what?
So I'm over here calling you all type of bodies. I'm like, yeah, body. I already know.
I was at the moon and Tally. Stop playing with me, y'all.
I was a good Christian, wholesome woman.
Stop playing with the Stop playing. Listen, I will say, guys, like, even though I had my son young, I really truly can say that I enjoyed my undergrad years. He was right in class with me at Nova. I was part of the Marlin troop at Nova. Stop playing with me. I was still making things happen no matter what. Even so, with my little baby that's 2 years old, y'all know how many hats I juggle. Like, literally, I'm walking in here on a conference call and I'm like, I'm gonna call you back. I'm gonna call you right back.
And you hear a little man in the background? No.
Yes.
No.
So no matter what, rather if you had children at a young age or even at your tender age where you're at now, Dr. Storm, just know that you're going to juggle every hat you wear, and it's still going to work, and everything's going to happen in God's timing. And any woman that is on this call right now, on our live, who may be experiencing the same exact thing where they're like, I don't know where my man at, I don't know when I'm gonna have my kids, my fertility clock is ticking. No, baby, your time is gonna happen right on time.
And your clock is not ticking. Listen, every time I go to the doctor, my doctor tells me, Dr. Storm,
you look good.
You good. And so this is the favorite line. You young. They tell me that all the time. Wait, you're young. Of course, you know, everything is in God's hands. But I just want to be realistic.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing my doctors tell me is, you're young.
Yeah.
You got time. And I'd be like, oh, I got time? Okay, I got time. And you know, it's one of those things where I have been surrounded by family and good friends that I have seen juggle single mother livelihood. And when it came to the point of saying, you know what, if it's my choice, I'm okay of waiting, because the reality is, now that I'm in my senior wisdom, young tenderoni age.
Tender age.
I know for me, I can, I built the whole school. I can bring my kids to school with me.
You can.
So it's things that I knew that in my 20s that I wouldn't be able to do because I'm a hustler by nature. And no, a lot of people say it does not stop what you're doing. I truly believe having a kid young, it does not stop what you're doing. It may slow a little stuff down, but it does not stop.
Right. It fuels you.
Yeah, it does. But for me, if I had to do it all over again, I would wait until this age because now, for one, everybody waiting on me to have a kid. So I'm just going to be the surrogate mom. That's perfect. And for two, I honestly get to enjoy, I'll have my husband, and I'll be able to enjoy my baby with my husband and my family. So it's like you both always tell me, don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush.
And I'm gonna tell you, and I hope everybody
and my mama be looking at me like this.
Where my grandbaby's at?
Yeah. But you know what, Storm? I'll tell you guys, and I tell everybody this. Anybody who's listening to this, it matters. It matters who you marry. It matters who you have children from. It matters. And I remember having London and my grandmother. She'll be 103 August 3rd. She said, I was pregnant and, a hot mess. Anywho, she's like, well, the first was a mistake, but 2, 3, and 4 babies, you know what you're doing. You knew what you were doing with this one. But we go. But it matters who you have your children from and who you marry. I wouldn't want. It's nothing fun or heroic about being a single mother or somebody who was just forced to do it alone or to be strong. This is why we're dying at faster rates with cancer and strokes and heart attacks, right? And Black women are getting the most aggressive form of cancer. And man, so it matters, Storm. It matters.
But what? I thank you all though for that because you Lee, and I didn't want to cut you off. Okay. I really just have to say I really appreciate you all for just reminding me because at a certain age, when you do hit a certain age, you start to think your biological clock is ticking.
Yeah.
And to have friends and people to tell you, listen, you're young, and I always say, you're right, I am young. But it matters because I've seen the both of you go through struggles with your significant partner. And trust me, let me tell you something. Your husband or wife today can be a totally different person in 2 to 3 years. So don't get me wrong. Don't think that just because you get married, person will not change. Correct. My mom always said, and I have heard it said, mama's baby's daddy's maybe. So
Storm, you heard me? Storm, you heard me? Would you say they could be what in 2 or 3 years?
A whole different person.
6 months.
So don't get me wrong. And, things happen, people grow apart. But I know for me, God forbid if I'm ever in that place, which I don't want to ever be, I'll be okay.
You will.
I'll be okay. Yeah. And you'll be okay in your 30s or your 40s. Because I know there's a lot of people that's in their 30s. Like, I could just have a kid. I could just go to the bank and just, get the sperm and just have it. Listen, I'll tell you that if it's God, if it's supposed to happen, it's gonna happen.
Correct.
Yeah, it's gonna happen in His time.
It's certain things I just don't worry about.
No, and I'm glad you got to that place. I just hate when people, we ain't gonna get kids or we ain't gonna get married. Some people could be having health issues. I think it's actually disrespectful in a sense.
Very
disrespectful. Because I have some friends that suffer with fertility issues and who have lost 4 and 5 babies before they actually became a mother. And some of them didn't know that they want to be a mother until they had to bury one.
Ooh.
So that's, so as we get older, we start we mature, we evolve, and now we're thinking differently because who would think that? Not knowing that a good friend of mine lost 4 babies.
Yeah.
Or before she got blessed with one and she was considered high risk and got pregnant again the following year. Right. So it was her time and it was her season for it. So you're right. You're right where you need to be. Yeah. You're right where you need to be. And that's why you got to give people grace because
you definitely got to give people grace. Give people grace to just know. And it's healthy to have these conversations. For one, I tell anybody, listen, if you are in your 30s, if you're in that latter year of hitting 26, 27, the one thing my mom always said is go to the doctor and to make sure that you're good with everything. That's the one thing that I'm blessed that she has raised me with. And going to the doctor, it does give you that peace of mind to say, you know what, God forbid if the doctor ever told me my time was ticking, baby, hey, come here. I think I like
oh God. Listen. Oh my goodness.
No,
the Bible says.
Now, if I was put in that situation, who knows what I would do? But the thing is, it's important to actually go to the doctor and go get those checkups and just know your status of saying whether or not you can bear children or whether or not it's going to be a problem to where you have to freeze your eggs.
Right.
Oh, it's so many different options in today's time.
Oh my gosh.
That
Dr. Stowe, I'm sorry. It's so hard. You know, it's so crazy. All your early 20s, you have the preventative measures you do.
Yeah.
And then now we're at the age where we're like, oh, can I freeze my eggs? Like, I never thought we would have to like start thinking about those measures to having children. I'm like, man, kids. Like, it's crazy though, but we really are at that age, and it makes me feel like man, life is getting.
It changes. I think for different people.
Yeah.
Because whatever I have, I want somebody to take. Okay.
Yeah.
I want somebody
you know, a lot of people that single moms, I hear a lot of single moms say, I don't want no more kids. But then you know what I ask? I say, well, what if you find you a good husband?
A good old.
You know what?
That's and then the response is, I'll have a kid. So
you listen, you hit it with a nail on the head. That's true. Because for years, I never wanted more children. Never. When I got married, I was like, okay. Because he is a great father, excuse me.
Right.
And, you know, I was like, okay, I just want one, right? That you can raise together in the home. And I'm so happy that didn't happen. That sounds so mean, but I'm happy that didn't happen because I would have still been tied to that situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for that piece, but it does changes. It does changes when you have something of structure and stability, and that you can see longevity.
Tell y'all, I
love child. Listen, I started look. You know, I got a light skinned kid. I started wanting me a chocolate baby. Okay, I'm like,
that's that love. You know what? I have heard it ain't nothing like having a love child.
Oh my God, I love my little chocolate baby.
It's nothing like having that.
So it changes. Child. It changes. Me personally, I'll be 37 in September. I don't know if that will change for me. Because as I'm getting the hill of 40, London and I are only 20 years apart, right? And my fear is being pregnant with my kid at the same time, but I just can't have it. I can't.
Talk about what is it? Grandma.
Listen, I'm gonna be one of those moments that's in their 30s, pushing around my cart, and I'm here pushing around the stroller. And my mom is so interesting because I told her, I said to her, you know, the thought of having a kid in my late 30s, listen, think about the system, how it's made. What is the age of retirement?
Girl, I think 66, they said.
65.
I'm to get 18. Listen, I'm still young.
Yeah. You got a whole lot of living to do. You got a whole lot of life. You're still young. And it's crazy because I think we look back at 20 like, wow. And we're like, damn, we're really about to be. Girl, I feel like I'm about to be the fine auntie in a second. I'm like, ooh, 40 getting closer. You know, 40 getting closer and closer, honey. Like, but when one of the girls called me Miss Leila, I was like, wait.
I'll be like,
listen, you start to sound like your parents and the people that raised you. Be like, come on, baby. But you know what's interesting? You know, we talk about having children, but one of the things that I always say, I'm gonna just say our culture. You know, when it comes to Black women, how to find. I can't even say how to find because the Bible says a man that finds the wife found favor in God.
And find a good thing.
But this is my thing though, Leila, and we talk about this all the time. I talk about this with my friends because a lot of people say that we are in this soft girl era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what happens when you find a good man? Because you know we're strong, independent alpha women.
Yeah.
And we like to do things the way that we like to do things. But when a God bless you with your Boaz.
Not bozo, Boaz people, Boaz.
She's like, but think about it though. You know, it's a lot of women that is single.
Yeah,
it's a lot of good women that is single in their later years, And then when we think about, I cannot with you. When you think about, your 20s, a lot of us are career driven, and maybe we had that one baby that was the right? Or that second baby that was the And then, in your 20s, you go through the level of hurt. You may be married, you go through divorce, and then you get in your 30s. But I remember someone telling me, and we had a conversation on it, and they said that, we're the only culture that do not tell our daughters to find their husband in their 20s when they're in college. We're the only culture that says, get your degree, don't worry about a man, and find your career, when other cultures, they say in your college years is where you should find your husband.
But you know what though? I think that to each his own. I think that when you're in college, one of the biggest mistakes I made was being in love, okay? When I really should have been playing the field like Donovan McNabb, okay?
This is why I can't stay.
You don't know what you want. You don't know what you like. All those things come into play. And I think that is, when you're in college, you should have the autonomy to be fluid. Fluid and to figure it out. Now, if you're able to meet a nice guy or a nice girl and it just works, have at it. I've met plenty of people in college that were college sweethearts that are married, thriving, healthy marriages today. I just think that it just whatever's a part of your journey, but I'm not mad at that. If I tell my daughter, which I've told her, when she goes to college, have fun, make good decisions, and don't allow anybody to tie you down, but make sure that's something you want, because guess what happens? If it doesn't work out in college, I started thinking about all these, girl, it could have been a franchise around here, honey. I was just like, dang, I had 1, 2, 3, 4. Girl, but you fall in love, and with women, we kind of stick to what's familiar, what's comfortable, right? And what we at least what we think we're sure of. But I don't. As a culture, it doesn't matter what your background is. I think every male and female should go to college to have fun, have different experiences, and figure out what you want.
Yeah,
that's just that's just my opinion. I don't think you should be tied down, because you have the rest of your life.
You do.
To go to figure out what you want, who you want to be with, what that family, dichotomy, what you want that to look like, right? Mm-hmm. And some of us don't know because we didn't have it.
Right.
Because you got to keep in mind that we can't teach what we were not taught.
Right.
So some of us are learning as we go, and that's from a professional standpoint, and from a personal standpoint. Even as a mother, a lot of people say, well, there's no parenting, there's no manual. Yes, the hell it is. You have a responsibility to do better than what was done by you.
Correct. Ooh. That part. Talk about you.
But people will use that as a scapegoat to half-ass raise their children, subject them to all type of foolery, because I said so, run a house as a freaking dictator where you're not allowed to be free, have a free mind or free opinion and be a free thinker. You have a responsibility to do better. I tell people all the time, when you know what your values are, it's not hard for you to make decisions.
Yes.
It's not hard.
Yeah. And I think about, when we say having to pretty much teaching our kids the things that we didn't get a chance to learn. So I think about when I'm at my school right now, I'm like, listen, I got to save as many young ladies from dating older men who they shouldn't even be entertaining. So I have those candid conversations and let them know my job. I'm on a mission to make sure the things they're missing at home, that they learn it from the correct individual that's going to steer them in the right way, so they don't go the wrong way.
That's right.
So preparing them for college, I'm literally letting them know, hey, financial literacy. I'm teaching them about human sex trafficking that's happening. Like, these are things that I feel like a lot of times, because parents are so busy, we're all dealing with things of life. We're juggling, we're trying to make things happen and balancing. So I'm like, okay, well, this is my mission while I'm here at this school, to make sure they understand things to be prepared for, because I didn't have that conversation. And when I did have the one conversation, it was like, why you don't want to hear me out though? Why I want to talk to this person? And it turned into like conflict between me and someone I truly love, who I wish you just shook my head a little harder and said, Ash, don't talk to him.
Right. Because nobody can't tell you nothing.
Hey, store. I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna say there's a doctor on the panel that was in love with a bad boy. I remember. Okay. I remember who had a hold of her, honey, had my girl in a chokehold, okay?
It was
her
bad.
in a chokehold. But I think even when you get that wise counsel, we're kids. You got to think about it. Even if she would have shook her head, it's almost like telling us don't do that. It's almost like telling them to do it. You want to do it more. You almost want to rebel. You almost want to rebel against it, because just like when you're people who cheat, it's the thrill. It's the thrill of it. Like, I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing. So I think that you just got to continue to lead and pay it forward in the capacity that you're in, and understand that you're not going to be able to save everybody, because you can want the world for your son, Ashley. You can show him better. Your son can go out there and do the total opposite. That wasn't how he was raised. That wasn't what he was showed, but you got to want it in. You have to want it in here.
Yeah.
And I think that is the change agent. That's what set people apart. Of how bad they want it. You could pray. Grandma could spoil him. Daddy can spoil him. You could spoil him. You can whoop his butt when he get out of line. But at the end of the day, he gotta want it.
Yeah, that's true.
He has to want it. But we've all been there, and I'm got with some guy we probably shouldn't have been with or whatever, honey. You see that girl in there, brown eyes. I ain't never dated a light skinned guy since then, honey.
And listen, I had to go back and tell my I'm sorry. But you know what? It's interesting, because I tell my students all the time. I say, listen, good girls fight bad guys. But
why is that?
Good girls fight bad guys. I wish.
You two tramps did. I didn't. I dated. Is this mic on? I dated really nice guys. So.
Oh, really?
Don't be like your friends. Don't be like your friends.
Oh, okay, well, listen, the 90% of the good girls like bad guys. But you know what? It's interesting, because I always tell my girls, I say, you think you like that bad guy mentality, but when you look back, you go wish you went for the one that actually cared.
That wore the glasses.
In
the classroom.
That actually asked you how you was doing.
Raised his hand.
And open the door for you, because it's such a different. And please don't get me wrong. Life teaches you, some things that you need to learn, and there's some things you just don't need to experience. And that's one of the things that our parents tried to teach us. Like, hey, I done been there, did that, but hard head, we got to figure it out, because they don't know what they're talking about, right? But when it comes to the generation now that's growing up, it's very scary, because it's almost like we don't have no morals as women, as little girls. And the one thing that's even scarier, I always say, when remember we had the grandmas that would tell you, girl, pull that skirt down. You're looking like this. What happens when that generation dies off?
You know what it is?
Up? It
has to be us. It's so unfortunate, because I think that is a epidemic that we can never truly fight alone. That's something that's been here before time. I think now, as we've gotten older, it's access, right? We're getting things much quicker. Advancement of technology, social media influencers. We didn't have that, honey. We had bond-ins, that romance ponytail. You couldn't tell me nothing, honey.
They were lace fronts to school. Listen. Let me tell you, and they wore Skims to school. I was like, my son bought me a pair of those. Why do you have those on as an outfit in school?
What is a Skim?
Oh, I gotta show you what Skims.
Oh yeah,
like boxer shorts, but they hug your body, and they got.
It's like a body shaper. They're cute body shaper, but it's just different. Girl, I was rocking crimps back in the day. I had a bad crimp ponytail, honey.
Remember, used to have the fan.
Y'all remember the butterflies that used to be flying like this in your head?
Yes. But it's access. It's advancement of technology, and that's a battle that we are never ever going to win. You got to continue just to pay it forward, and hopefully along the way, those that get it do, and those that don't, you just have to wish them well, because we saw it. We saw it as teens. I used to be headed to track practice, basketball practice. I saw the dope boys in the school zone with the girls, the get it girls, jumping in their cars on rims, and the nice guys who got looked over. And now those women who probably got 4 and 5 kids now, 800 pounds, want the dude that got the glasses, and every time he talk, he doing this. Now they want this guy because he's gainfully employed. Homeowner, all these other things.
Come on now.
But yeah, so I think that's something that unfortunately that we will always see, because everybody has different backgrounds.
Yeah.
They're doing things for whatever their own reasons to make it, or feel like they got to do that to get a little ahead or to have more.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something we can ever truly eradicate. All you can do is educate and encourage them along the way.
Absolutely.
And you know what? This was good, y'all. Listen,
this is good.
I can say, me and Ashley, we don't listen. We have it has been a journey on this side today during this live, and I'm gonna talk about it. We done been from a iPad to the phone to the laptop. But the one thing that was so important is that we wanted to make sure that no interruptions. And Leila, you have so much to say.
Oh my gosh.
And just your story alone, I'm honored just to be your friend for over. I met Leila when I was 7.
In high school. We were in high school. Yeah.
Wow.
Storm knows the unfiltered version of everything. She knows. This is the watered down version because it's public.
And that's the reason why I respect you so much, because I have seen you. I've seen both of you ladies come through. It's almost like, and I tell you both that you all are my heroes and my sheroes, because at the end of the day, to see the trials and tribulations, it's especially not having a mom. Ooh. I can't even, talk about that topic too long, because I can't fathom. You know how I am about my Cleotis and my mama. She's my heart. And for you to perseverance through not having the parents in your life and just, staying with other family members, and then having a kid when you was in college and still trying to have, a life, a career, and be a mom at such a young age. It is the story of a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where it's such a sensitive topic, but it's a topic that needs to be had.
Yes.
Because I always say, everybody talk about generational curse, but how are we breaking these generational curse?
Come on now.
Not even just that. You know what the problem is? It's a burden. I was burdened with that. And that don't get talked about.
Yeah.
I was burdened with that. I'm the first to graduate high school, to graduate college, to go get a master's degree. I'm the first of my siblings to get married. All of those things. And it was a burden.
Phenomenal daughter that makes me want a girl.
Thank you. But it was a burden. Yeah. It was a burden to feel like you had to be the one to break the generational curses. Because everybody's looking to me. Everybody's looking at, okay, this is how she's done it or whatever. But people, you can break generational curses, but no one talks about survivor's guilt of carrying that. Because the same things I was judged for when it came to my siblings of going to go pursue higher education is the very thing now that anchors them.
Yes.
Hey, do you have this? Can I get this? Yep. Hey, this is what I have going on. Can you, let me know what you think? So that's a conversation that's never had. And when you talk about mothers, I've had to learn to not vicariously live through my daughter, to let her be her own person. But I'm learning now to stop preparing her, for me to die. And what I mean by that, because I didn't have my mom, everything I do, I'm finding myself, well, London, I didn't have my mom. So you have to do this and this. It's almost like I'm preparing her to live without me.
Yeah. I caught myself.
Like I had to check myself. And I was like, God, please help me. I was in the kitchen crying. I was like, God, please help me, because that's not her fault. That's not her burden. That's not her bag to carry. Right. But in my mind, it's like, I want to give her all the resources and tools she needs to tackle the world. And I'm preparing her to survive. Like I'm giving her subconsciously my little girl issues.
Yeah. I definitely feel that.
That's tough. That's tough.
Mm-hmm. I have had those moments. I'll say to my son, I'm like, when I was your age, I had my mama. I wasn't able to do the things that you do and able to get the answers when you need help with this and that. Like, and you do it unconsciously, like you said.
And it's not their fault.
And it's not
their fault. So it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Wow. You have to. You got to sit in. You have to sit in your own. Sit in your own mess sometimes and catch yourself. But I thank God for that. That I'm able to recognize it and not justify it.
Yeah,
that's big. Because I tell my daughter, hey, London, I handled that wrong. I am sorry. I have to have those conversations with her because I want her to know, like, parents we drop the ball too. And even though I'm doing the best that I know how to do, it's the way you do things.
Right.
So sometimes I have to check myself, and I have those girlfriends to be like, hey, Leah, I love you to death, but you messing up the church's money, honey. You need to, and you need people like that around you. Oh, so you got some people around you that's like kids, oh, they'll figure it out, or they'll adjust, they'll be fine. No, because you have these same men and women that's around here wreaking havoc on other men and women because of their childhood issues, because of the things their parents did or didn't do.
Yeah.
So it's girl, let me tell you something. Motherhood, it's an initiation in priesthood. It is the best membership. Yes. But honey, it is the goddamn ghettoist. You hear what I say?
You know what?
The ghettoist, okay?
I listen, it's crazy because my mom always say that. She said, you know, motherhood is a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
It's never done. But your job is never done.
Listen,
never.
I tell my mom all the time, and it's one of those things where I love her so much that I'm just like, hey, I need you. Like at the end of the day, it is so important that to have those parents, because people tell you all the time, your parents are your backbone.
Damn, you're everything.
I envy that. I envy your relationship with your mom, Storm. Like, I envy it.
Really?
Like, yeah, because
I just
outside, you know, I always thought your mom was Freddy Krueger in high school. I'm like, girl, your mama mean as hell. Like, girl, I'm not gonna come up there, girl. Your mama was mean.
Yes, my mama didn't play with me.
Yeah, no.
I didn't go to school. I wasn't planning on jumping out nobody's window.
Leslie didn't play the radio. She did not play the radio. But now that she's an adult, I tell Storm, I say, Storm, your mom wanted you to be better than her. And she was like, Lee, I know, but I envy that, to pick up the phone and want to call your mom and say, Mom, am I doing this right? You know, because you need that. But I thank God for the motherly roles that he did place, where I can call, and I love them dearly. But honey, it ain't nothing like your mama.
But you know what, Lita? And that's the reason why I tell anybody when it comes to mom, you only get one. And I try this is when I know that I made it in my career, because a lot of people say, you know, you're very successful, but until I can write me a check and pay off her condo, purchase her 2-3 more houses, and tell my mom to work for me because she's going to be in my pocket, but and just tell her to literally go put her on a private jet that she owned and she could travel the world, I made it. Yeah, because my mom took hits for me that I didn't have to experience. Correct. My mom did. She was the person that I did not have to be for, you know, with me and my brother. And I'm just so grateful for that. And when I see a student disrespecting their mom or their parents, I take it personal, because I'm like, you only have one mom. Ain't nobody go treat you the way your mama treats you. No. That's the one. Y'all might get mad at each other, or she may say some stuff, but guess what? At the end of the day, I know hands down, God forbid I go rob a bank today, it's gonna be Leslie that's gonna get me out and have my lawyer on stand.
That's right.
Get my commissary money and go say I'm gonna ride with my daughter.
Yes. One thing I will say, Leila, just to add to what you were saying about just not having your mom, like, I'm so thankful for every woman, every mentor I have in my back pocket. Let me tell you, they be supporting us like never before. I know they in the comments right now, like going ham. Like, I kid you not, I'm so thankful for them. I admire them in so many ways. Each and every one I call auntie, mom, Gotti. Everybody, like, and I know you can relate to the same thing. Like, God always places people in your path just get you to the next level in life, and they're going to be on your coattail the whole entire time to say, Leila, keep going. That's right. So I know that we can both relate in that aspect. Like, we do want our moms to be there physically, but unfortunately, these are the cards of life that we were dealt, and we're going to get through this together. You have me, you have Dr. Storm, and I'm just so thankful for you. Like, I kid you not, like, to know and to see that there is some woman that's beyond just my baby mamas that are going through the same thing.
And you know what? But I think the blessing of it all, especially with you two, you both are doing it. You are doing something that and it's amazing, because both of you have phenomenal careers. You have amazing children. I appreciate you. And one day you both are going to be amazing wives. Yes. And I'm just so thankful that I have both of you just to go through certain periods in my life. When I become a mom, guess what? I can pick up the phone and call either one of you at any time. So make sure I'm on emergency bypass.
I got you.
And to have these conversations and for me to get the wisdom outside of my family. So when we talk about She Speaks, a lot of people say, is this platform for men as well? Absolutely, because we got some good men out here, some good daddies.
Yes, and you know what, too? I think that we all can learn from each other. Like, I never want, even my conversation today, you know, I understand if you're on the outside looking in, but listen, I love our brothers. Yeah. And we need them. We need them. And we can't do it. You know, we can't do it without them. But I think I think there's transparency on both ends, because just like Ashley and our stories are similar, you got some men, it never fails. The men I've ran across, they got the total opposite. Like, hey, you should be my baby mom. I'm like, you should be my baby daddy. You know? But you know, they have their stories too, and their horror stories as well. So I want to make sure that like that's for those who don't know me. Those who know me, they know. Yeah. Listen, man, I love our brothers. We need them. And I love Black love. Ooh. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't think there's nothing like it. Yes. And I think too that this is a great space to have those conversations, because I love to hear from the male point of view. I love to hear, like, why do you tick the way you do, or why do you think that?
Because they don't feel appreciated. That's why I can tell you that.
Or their experiences. Listen, it'd be appreciation. It'd be ego and insecurities. Because listen, I done ran across one who want a strong woman, independent woman, honey. They don't know what to do with them when you get them. It just sounds good. It just sounds good. Okay. So,
but you know what? Because I'm gonna defend our brothers. You know, I'm gonna defend our brothers. At the end of the day, I feel like when it comes to our men, yes, and he's the good men. I can't talk about the other ones. Let me talk about the good men, because you know, I'm gonna defend our brothers. Yeah, we have some good men out here. We have men that are great fathers and great husbands. They are. That is devoted to their wives and their families, and take up the trophy of being someone else's dad, you know, and having a blended family. And I think that as women, especially independent women, a lot of times when I ask a man a question about what do they want within their woman, and they say they just want to be respected. We're talking about a good man now, not the other ones.
I think it's a given. But you know what though? I think it's a given, either or. A good guy, not a good guy. I think it's a given. I think that those who, you have some that say, well, I want her to be submissive. But what does that submission look like? Because I could tell you that when a woman is loved and properly cared for, you don't have to ask for submission. It's all correct. It's to feel protected, but I never want to be in another situation where you want to be a dictator. This is democracy. I don't run you, you don't run me. This is a collective. Right. And we can make these decisions jointly. I respect you and you respect me. But I think that, you know.
But the Bible says that the man is the head of the household.
Listen, he is. But you know what the trick is? Finding one that's going to be that. Yes. Not just the head financially, spiritually, mentally. Remember, you have to.
So is it the man's fault or is it the woman's fault? Because technically, when we get in these relationships where the man is not manning and we want to control our men, and I'm just speaking in general. So who fault is this? Because
honestly, the pendulum could swing it either way. Because I can't say that my situation before marriage, my situation prior to the marriage was great. Pursued me, courted me, did all the things you name it, okay? And you know, you get into a situation where you're like, wow, I thought that if you guys don't have the same, you guys don't share the same values, it's never going to work. But you know what was telling your mind? Didn't have a relationship with Christ. It was a churchgoer, but didn't know God. You understand? Right. There's a difference when you don't have a relationship with Christ. But yeah, a man is supposed to lead. A man is the head. I agree 100%. Storm, I was raised by my grandfather. Yeah, you know, so a total provider. My uncles, you name it, their wives work, they have careers, but they don't have to pay anything. But that was the way they were raised. Right. It's finding someone to trust to chart your collective course. Yes. Finding someone where Ashley, I could let go my hands and I could fall back and I know you got me. With your eyes closed. Yes. With your eyes closed. And I don't mean just financially, that you're going to protect my heart, that the decisions you make financially, we're not going to have to pull from our retirement later. You know, it's layers. It's layers to that. And some say that until it's time to really walk that walk and carry that, because it far exceeds the financial part of it, especially when you're making decisions that affects other people.
Yes.
That ain't nothing to be played with. I gotta trust you to do that, and I gotta know that you got me, because I know I got me.
That part.
I have to know that you got me, and when you know that, the world is yours. The world is yours.
I love it.
Women to be quiet. I'll be quiet then. I'll sit down too. You ask me something. Look,
don't you say I will be
listen. You gonna finish? Look, I ain't even got nothing to say. I ain't got nothing to say. Like, what am I say? You know, but that comes with time and effort and work on both parties. Because you got some men that think, oh, I'm the head. Okay, are you leading like the head? Because you're still moving outside of your marriage, your marriage and your relationship as a single. You just out here living amongst the land, So it's just finding that. But it's both parties' fault, Storm. To answer your question, I hope I answered it. It goes on both ends. It's both ends. You have some men that want to lead, some don't. Some say they do, because I think that's what we all know the ideations of what a man is supposed to be.
Right.
Child, please. You be around here like, you did? Okay, I'll get it taken care of. No. I need you to be a man of your word, to do what you say you're going to do. I'm going to do what you need me to do. And I'm going to be a woman of my word, because guess what? They want to know that we got their back too. When everything hits the fan on their end, when they get injured on a job or they're unemployed. Storm, listen, you see how you guys had that computer, that cell phone, that iPad? They need to know that we suited and booted too.
Suited and booted.
Sorry, y'all.
That's what I need. I can't deal with both of y'all at the same time. But other side start to come out,
All right, y'all.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that it goes both ways. I just think it goes both ways. It's finding someone that's going to be that, and not when you move into the home with them, they're a totally different person. When you marry, and it changes. Okay, now I guess I was meeting your representative, and now you're somebody that I never even knew.
It's appearing.
Yeah, so it goes.
Men and women deal with that as well.
Absolutely. It goes both ways. Right. So that's why I said that the blame can be put on both parties.
Yes.
Because remember because let me tell you something I've learned. Men love to say, well, a man is the head of the house and the man is supposed to lead. Okay, are you gonna just skip and bypass the verse to say that the husband is supposed to love the wife as Christ loved the church?
That part.
There's so many other things in there that goes along with being the head.
Yes.
And I think that's the stuff that some rather just hold on to, like, hey, are we just going to skip Deuteronomy and go straight to Job?
That's what they do.
I love y'all. Listen.
They said we're going to skip that Leila, book of the Bible. Leila.
It has been a pleasure.
Leila, this is like my favorite one. I mean, we had some amazing guests. Let's be clear, but I feel like this is the one that
absolutely, because y'all don't look, y'all.
Wait,
y'all.
Leila, we had
5 minutes overtime.
We gotta go to work.
Hey, listen, I gotta be on. Listen, I'm gonna be in briefing in the morning like this.
Leila,
it's all right, Leila. We appreciate you so much.
I'm so proud of you. And I thank you so much for just being tangible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not just for us, because this is viewed on social media.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people can relate. And thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I'm very overprotective over the people I love. So both of y'all, having both of you at one time on this platform, is almost like I was sitting here and I'm taking deep breaths, because I experienced so much with the both of you.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate the both of you. And just the motivation that you give me, especially as the person living on the other side.
Yeah.
I always tell people, you don't know the truth behind my smile.
Yes.
And because I dress it up really well, you really don't know.
Yes.
And I think that goes for everybody. Everybody have a story, but are you willing to share? Because the Bible say that we live in as a testimony, but I ain't gonna preach today.
Nah, I don't preach today, Dr. Storm.
Ashley, I'm gonna give it over to you.
Yes.
Close it out,
again, Leila, we appreciate you so very much. I'm like, this was one that needed to happen.
I didn't even say none of my questions on my card.
I know. This is the one that I felt all day. I was like, I am so excited to have this conversation and just girl talk. Like the She Speaks podcast with featuring Leila Brown, the
GOAT.
Oh,
okay.
Bum, 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 bum.
That's why she was at my graduation.
We appreciate you so much, and you will be sure to share this one and share with your guests on your actual social media platforms. It should be available as soon as we actually get ready to hang up. And the other thing that we have coming up, actually, this is Sisterhood Month. We forgot to mention this is Sisterhood Month. This is Women's History Month,
yes, it
and
is.
we are so excited just to have you yet again. Just kind of reiterating, but our next guest that we're having is actually none other than Dr. Nathel Stevens. She'll be on our episode coming up. This is episode 6. She's going to talk about monopoly, which is about financial literacy on the biblical aspect and how God ordains us in terms of our finances. So we are so excited. We're so blessed to have her. Listen, that one probably going to be like 2 hours long. I'm going to tell y'all now. So get ready. We don't play with Dr. Nathel Stevens, okay? But Leila, again, we appreciate you so much. We're gonna be texting throughout the week, checking on each other, like all is well.
I'm just so happy y'all make this connection.
I know.
Yes.
Look, I approve.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for listening. Anybody that's watching, I hope that something I said resonated and that it was, something positive, hopefully. But thank you guys for having me.
Leila, I love you to life and life and back. You my girl.
Yeah.
And London been shouting you out. She's like, tell Auntie Storm I said, I was like, how the mama like,
hi, my baby.
Hi,
London, listen, my future everything, and she's such a good girl. Let me tell you something about my London. I'm gonna leave it at that, but she's amazing, London. I am super proud of you. I'm gonna go on the national network to tell you that your TT is extremely proud of you. And I just pray that you continue to keep up the good work, baby.
Yes, we appreciate y'all, and we will chat with you guys soon.
All right. Thank you guys.
Bye.